ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And if you are a kindergartner out there, you know this song. I want you to sing along and clap and hear the words for Hine Matov. We know these words, how good it is to be together. Even if we're on Zoom, we're together singing and celebrating Shabbat. Hine Matov, clap, clap. Umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov, clap, clap. Umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Now repeat after me. How good it is, how sweet it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov, clap, clap, manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Now shalom, shalom alechem, salam aleikum, shalom alechem, salam aleikum. You try, shalom alechem, salam aleikum, shalom alechem, salam aleikum. Now I can't do those cool hand motions that you guys know, so I'm leaving it up to you. Hine matov, clap, clap. Umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, clap, clap. Umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Big finish. Shabbat shalom.
Ooh, we got some interesting background echo there. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Wonderful to be here with you all. So I'm going to ask for perhaps a few technological feats for many of us, okay? So I don't know if my colleague, Rabbi Mars, can take the slides. Wow, excellent. Wow, first technological feat done. Now, for the next technological feat, I'd like you to take your view. It's a top right button there. Take your view from speaker to gallery mode. Now, why do I want you to do grid view, right? To grid view, to gallery. Because we want to welcome you all. Look around the screens. This is our Temple Israel community coming together. We've got folks from all different backgrounds and ages here. We've got a huge representation from our kindergarten class and from friends of our teen, Abby Sanders, to celebrate her. And we have everyone here. So the third technological feat is to go into your chat box and wish each other Shabbat Shalom. I often do it all caps. I'll demonstrate right now. Shabbat Shalom. Great to have you all here. So for the parents and students of kindergartners that are here with us, I want to note that tonight is also very much special for you. We couldn't wait to tell you what lies in store for you. Come April 1st, all of your classmates and families, your parents, grandparents, guardians, siblings, they're all going to gather together to celebrate you. It's a ceremony that's actually quite a big word, 4 syllables, in fact, consecration. Try saying that with me, consecration. Now, that's sort of the beginning of a journey you've already begun, your Jewish journey. You know, from the magical world of kindergarten, you'll hold close our holy book of the Torah through the steps of first grade, second grade, and third grade, through learning a whole language of Hebrew and beyond, getting ready for your big B'nai Mitzvah, and then on to the crazy adventures and exciting conversations at Temple Israel as teenagers. Now, you might notice that tonight we're celebrating one specific teen, Abby, with her whole family there. Please wave at us, Abby. Good to see you. She's actually about to go to Israel for a whole semester. And I know when I spoke with her parents, Amy and Josh, I knew we had to send you off in style. So Abby, we're wishing you a Nisya Tova, a good, safe, and awesome journey. Now, after those teen adventures, we can go back off spotlight mode. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it. So after all those teen adventures, then there's another gigantic word, 4 syllables, confirmation. Try that, confirmation. Yes, we are going to graduate from your Jewish schooling at Temple Israel and step into what is called college, where there's Hillel and birthright and all sorts of amazing things to do with other Jews. And then adulthood, and maybe then you'll bring more kindergartners into our program at Temple Israel, and you'll be continuing to learn with us. That would just be a blessing after a blessing. So we're going to begin tonight with a very special blessing. If you happen to have your candlesticks in front of you with Cantor and Moses, please join us in lighting the Shabbat candles and share the light that all of you are with us and with the world.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Abby Sanders, come on over. Come here. A little closer. I'm talking to you, my friend. Abby, I don't know if I ever shep naches. Do you know what that means, by the way? Shepping naches? Okay, I'll explain. Shep, well, I can't even tell you the origins of these words because I didn't grow up with, exactly what each word meant in Yiddish. It was more like a feeling. Shepping naches is like lapping up joy. I lap up joy as I sit there and I'm looking at your beautiful family. You're like smushed between your sister, hi Abby, and your mom, Amy, and your dad, Josh. And you've got friends in the room tonight. And every kid in religious school would know you also, because you're that cool madricha who hangs out and who I sometimes, and Toby also, and Rabbi Sam and Cantor Batami, we all like, if we need anything during religious school, it's like, where are the Sanders kids? Because we know we can count on you guys. And I remember that you recently, at the beginning of school, when there was a little guy who just he wasn't feeling super confident that he was going to be able to say goodbye to his moms and go into his class. You remember that? I was like, Abby, come hither. And I made you sit down but you just sat down on the ground on your own and made this kid, you just kind of swept him a little neatly into the room. And before you know it, this kid is like, I love kindergarten and I love religious school and I love Temple Israel. You have so blossomed from that kid who was, maybe a little shyer and more timid at the beginning, just that little guy was, to becoming this total leader. And that's why I'm shepping naches right now. I am so lapping up the joy to see you as you're about to go off to Israel. Now, this is not your first time to Israel, because I remember also I can't remember if it was a Shabbat, but all of a sudden I was getting Jonah Hara and Abby Sanders sitting on the bus, sending their rabbi selfies from your last trip to Israel. And then I kind of died and went to heaven again. I was like, oh my, like my heart was just like this, because I mean, it was like the best. And then to keep on getting these little messages like, hey, Rabbi Sharon, we're still in Israel having the time of our life. And before that, being in New York City together, because your parents are like so wonderful, thoughtful, generous. They had a great experience being young and Jewish. They want you guys to have a great experience being young and Jewish. And so we went to New York City together, and we looked at, the Lower East Side, and we may have done a little shopping together, and we just had a blast. And it was so great. I mean, you've been there for confirmation. You had your bat mitzvah. I think that, you and your family are like these, you're the Temple Israel, poster family, one of many, who just really make us so proud to be Reformed Jews, to be people who care so much about the Jewish people and the greater world. And I see you're going off to Israel right now as being this unbelievable step. It's a step into like the fullness of Jewish identity. And just, how it is to be there. You can, maybe I'm hoping when you get back from the next several months, you'll come back and share with us what it was, like what made your heart sing, what made you feel like, Israel is hard, but Israel is wonderful. Israel is family, and Israel is just a whole other side of Jewish life. I want you to help translate that to our folks. Will you come back and give us a little bit of that? Okay. Abby, we just want to bless you with every happy, wonderful step to Israel. When you go get, a falafel, just think of me, okay? Get a little bit more hummus on there if you could, a little schug, okay? And then think of all of us that first Shabbat that you're there. And I want you to remember that for that Shabbat, when you're making the blessings over the candles, wherever you are, if you're in Yerushalayim, if you're in Tel Aviv, Haifa, wherever you are, that just we're there with you. We're just there with you. I always do this. It's like, I love this gesture so much because it's like, come on in, my people, just be with me, gather around me. Your parents may shed some tears. Evie may do the same thing, right? But we couldn't be happier for you. So with every blessing, we want to send you off to Israel to have the best time ever. Safe, fun, exciting, growth-filled. Come back and teach us something, Abby. And in the meantime, just know that we love you. And this song is for you as you go off on your way and set this amazing model up for all of our little guys who might be here tonight watching you, and for every adult, by the way, as well.
Beautiful. And if I just could add a little something, that I was actually really there with you your very first trip to Israel, and I get verklempt, I get tears in my eyes because we sang this together right at the Tayelet when we just arrived at Yerushalayim together. So seeing you going not once but twice, and now spending a whole semester there, I remember we shared that falafel many times and sang this beautiful blessing to you. And on behalf of all your Temple Israel family, may you be blessed. Be blessed as you go on your way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing blessing. Amen. 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 May this be your blessing. Amen.
Thank you, Cantor Moses. And now we'd like to just have everybody gather up your people around you, whether you're going off to Israel or your person's going off to Israel, or they're going to be going from kindergarten into their road to Jewish life here. We want to give you also this blessing that comes from our tradition.
Yirach Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May you see that God's light is always upon you and filling your life with grace and blessing.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you always find peace. Amen.
Amen, amen. Well, I want to just take a moment for our kindergarten families that are tuning in here or online. We know that your students may have had a long day. We can't wait to see you April 1st. So parents may want to stay with us for Shabbat services, but kids definitely listen to your parents and see if it's time for dinner time. But for all of us, please stay with us. But we wish all of our friends and Abby again a Nisiyah Tova, a good, safe, and just an awesome Jewish journey ahead of you. If you're still with us, fantastic. Please join in as we sing with Cantor Moses, Lecha Dodi, welcoming the bride. Because if Shabbat was a person, she would definitely be a beautiful bride that would make us pause.
תפארת וליתילה לך דודי דודי חדודי לקראת כלה אני שבת נקמלה לך דודי לקראת כלה אני שבת נקמלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי דודי חדודי לקראת כלה ואני שבת נקמלה לך דודי לקראת כלה ואני שבת נקמלה התעוררי התעוררי מי בעורק ומבורי אורי אורי שיר תברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי דודי חדודי לקראת כלה ואני שבת נקמלה לך דודי לקראת כלה ואני שבת נקמלה we rise בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי דודי Seated. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם עולם העמיה יתברך. יתברך וישבח, יתבר ויתרומם וינשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קדושה בריחו לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. We rise for the baruch. We sing. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai lai lai. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. We bow, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Seated. Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam tamid, yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai hamariv aravim. Our blessing for creation.
Before we transition into the Shema, I just want to take a moment to think about how after what happened last Shabbat in Colleyville, Texas, to a Reformed Jewish congregation just like ours, to congregants and rabbis and clergy just like us, we really need unity more than ever. And I was so glad to see that Jews of every movement, Reform, Conservative, Orthodox, and more, sent messages of support to Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker. And we acknowledge the one God, the great unity that holds our people together for generations. And we seal with these words.
כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, והם נגי יומם ולילה, ואהבתך תשים ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע Yisrael, Adonai, Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vahed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך, בכל נפשך, בכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, ויולכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Please join me in this reading on the slides. Everyone suddenly burst out singing, and I was filled with such delight, as prison birds must find in freedom, winging wildly across the white orchards and dark green fields, on, and out of sight. Everyone's voice was suddenly lifted, and beauty came like the setting sun. My heart was shaken with tears, and horror drifted away. Oh, but everyone was a bird, and the song was wordless. The singing will never be done.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. ונאמר, כי פת אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, ישראל.
Tonight we hold our fellow Jews in this time of trauma. We celebrate their escape, both miraculous and also well trained for, and we thank God for protecting them. There's a beautiful text and a song called Achenu that I actually turned to after the attack on the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. I'm going to go ahead and paste in the chat so that you can all follow along with me if you have access to it. It goes like this: Achenu, our brothers and sisters, all our siblings, the whole house of Israel, who are given over to trouble or captivity, whether they abide on the sea or on the dry land. May God have mercy upon them and bring them forth from trouble to enlargement, from darkness to light, and from subjugation to redemption, now, speedily, and soon. And together we say, Amen. We now thank Hapurei Sukkot Shalom, our God that spreads a blanket of peace over those in Texas and over us, over all Israel. We sing Hashkivenu, Lukan Moses.
now we sing together the testament of the Jewish people that we've been able to keep together because we remember and we keep Shabbat with the singing of Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom, friends. Well, I want to just pause for a second and, what a week. It has been almost singularly focused, suddenly going from like COVID over here to this very strange shift to us, to us personally, to us Jews, to those of us who would dare to say, world, I want to pray as a Jew, I want to eat as a Jew, I want to dress as a Jew, I want to think as a Jew, I want to be a Jew in this world, and I want to be peaceful as a Jew. I want to be nonviolent as a Jew. I want to strive for justice as a Jew. I want to sing my song out for peace and for love as a Jew. I want to be in the world and reach out to others as a Jew. I want to find a language that speaks to you because I'm a Jew. And I have something really special and unique to offer you because I'm a Jew. We can't always expect that the world will understand the very unique position that we're in as Jews, living in America, living in the world. And what a heartbreak to know that we still can't be completely safe in who we are because of who we are. That just breaks my heart. And I could leave it there, but the strange thing is that I had a premonition this week, not about anything that happened last week, but I had a premonition that, well, I was thinking of how wonderful it is that there are still some unbelievably wonderful teachers in the world. You among them, for me, constantly, my people. And then I was thinking in particular of one of my teachers. I have so very many teachers that I'm grateful to have had, and one that I never met, but I feel like because his books are on my shelves, and because I have his voice in my head from recordings, and because I try to be something like him in any of my own peaceful warrior ways, I felt like because Thich Nhat Hanh, that Buddhist monk from Vietnam, was alive, that somehow the world was really okay. And then he died today. I thought that premonition 3 days ago when I was thinking, oh God, who am I happy? It was the same sensation I had actually as when Leonard Cohen died a few years ago. I thought, oh, this is a gadol. This is one of the greats. One of the greats because he could see through it all. getting verklemmt, I really am. He could see. He just knew. He knew what it meant to be peaceful and to be strong. I want to read something that came out in the New York Times. This is something that I'd never read before, but he wrote a poem for which he was nominated, among other things, for the Nobel Peace Prize. They didn't give it out in 1967 for some reason, but Martin Luther King Jr., the great orator, the great peacemaker in his own right, marched with him, was just noticed what he called this quiet monk in Vietnam, who was a great for him. He was a great to Martin Luther King. And the reason that they banded together in the 60s was because both of those men, among so many other people in the world, said this war in Vietnam, it can't be good for us. This cannot be what is going to build and model any kind of way of handling crisis, of handling conflict. So Thich Nhat Hanh wrote this. He said, "Whoever is listening, be my witness. I cannot accept this war. I never could, I never will. I must say this 1,000 times before I am killed. I am like the bird who dies for the sake of its mate, dripping blood from its broken beak and crying out, 'Beware! Turn around and face your real enemies: ambition, violence, hatred, and greed.'" He could see through it all. He knew the ways of nature. He knew the ways of human nature. He knew that we are given to these very strong emotions: ambition, violence, hatred, and greed. And that for some people, that blocks their path towards peace. I wonder what Ty would have said. Ty means teacher. It's kind of like saying rabbi. I wonder what Ty would have said if he had been able to give us a little bit of hope tonight as our own community faces the fear of that comes from maybe it's ambition, violence, hatred, or greed. Maybe it's just from the simple fact that some people feel very alone in this world. And then when you couple that with mental health issues and with feeling somehow that they're not receiving enough love, that this can drive a person to the kind of sad, lonely ignorance that the gentleman who held up those 4 in Colleyville perpetrated. Maybe that's the result. I have to look at the human side of this. And then I have to look at what our Parsha tells us this week. Our Parsha, so beautifully reflected upon by Rabbi Rick Jacobs of the URJ, the Union of Reform Judaism, he reminded me of what we have to take away, right? Because you can't stand in that place of fear forever. We can't. We have too much work to do. We have to steel ourselves, actually, if we're going to move forward. He brings in the passage from Exodus 17, Parshat Yitro, this week. Videi Moshe kvedim. Moses is standing there, and he's trying to hold up his hands. He's holding up his hands. Why? Because he is having to direct the people as they're battling the Amalekites. Amalek is the same thing as saying, in our time, Adolf Hitler. Amalek is that which embodies, that's the name of the enemy. And so here is the battle with Amalek at Rephidim, and Moses and his brother Aharon and Hur are all looking over this battle atop a hill that's happening with the Amalekites. And Moses lifts up his arms, and when he does that, the battle goes in favor of us, Israel, the people. The Amalekites cannot dominate us as long as Moshe's hands are lifted up. And then the text says this, Videi Moshe kvedim. Moses' hands grew heavy. Why? He's lifting up his hands for a long, long time. God is in those hands, helping him control this, but he starts to show his weakness. Vayikhu even, vayasimu tachtav, vayeshev aleha. And so Aharon and Hur, they take a stone and they put it under him. They say, Moshe, sit down. You can't keep going like this. You can't keep going. He has the guts to show that he is having weariness. He's battle fatigued. He can't hold this all up by himself. And so, Aharon v'Hur tamchu biyadav. I love this line. And while Aaron and Hur, one on each side, supported his hands, tamchu biyadav mizeh echad umizeh echad, one on one side and one on the other. Thus his hands remained steady until the sun set. Vayehi yadav emunah ad bo hashemesh. His hands were able to stay up because they were holding him. Sit down, take a breath. You cannot hold this up by yourself. We will help you. Here, we're going to help you. And I love the fact that they were there. The people were there to step in and help. But I love the fact also that he was a leader enough to say, I need help. That's where his anava came in. The great leader says, I'm going to be humble enough to show that I'm human, to not be so bulletproof that I can't show you that we need to be in this together. I need you to hold me up. When I got your words of encouragement this week, when I know Rabbi Klein and Cantor Moses did too, that's what you were doing. You were being Aharon and Hur, and you were lifting up our hands and you were saying, sit down. And it helped us to breathe. It helped us to breathe. And it helped us to then helps us to be able to stand up tonight and lead services with you by our sides. You are right there with us. And I think that the greatest possible response to a frightening situation is to say, can I see through this moment for what it is? For what it is. Without lo ira, I won't be afraid, because I know I have people on either sides of me holding up my hands, or because I know I can be the person to hold up other people's hands. We're all leaders, friends. And we as the Jewish people, so easily, we could be so intimidated as to hide under a rock, not just sit down on it, but hide underneath it. That could have been an option for Moshe, but we got to be Moshe. We got to be Moshe, and we have to, as Rick Jacobs, the rabbi of the Reform movement, said this week, he said, we got to show up. Now, let me just tell you, the only thing I want to end with tonight before I say Shabbat Shalom to you is that we are going to keep you safe. And I say that knowing that we need your hands, and we need your eyes, and we need your ears. We need you to be present by making sure that, if you see something, you got to say something. If there's ever anything that catches your eye, you just need to be that leader in the moment and say, this is my people. Let's hold each other's hands right now and hold up and make sure that we're doing the best possible job at securing our beloved Temple Israel, which, here we are just opening up, friends, and we thought COVID was the worst thing. And so what we got to do now is just have a lot of chazak, We have to know that people come from all kinds of dark, sad places, but we are the light. We have to be that kind of pervasive light. And that means sharing, as we did in our Shabbat in spirit before we came on here tonight, sharing a range of emotions with each other, and every one of them is okay. You can be angry. Anger is a response. If you didn't feel like you heard from your friends this week and you felt very alone as a Jew, it's okay to be sad, disappointed, angry. It's all right. And it's okay to share that with people too. I needed you. Where were you? I feel alone. I heard a lot of that this week. So this is a weekend of repair. This is a Shabbat of solidarity, and it's a Shabbat of being very present to what our emotions are and to what the world is telling us, that it still doesn't understand the Jewish people. It doesn't understand our the amazing Torah that we have to teach the world. That our ways are not so different, but they are special. And damn it, if we're not going to be proud of that, because we have to be. And so that light has to shine, friends. I need you to hold up my hands as we do daring things like praying for peace. When we do daring things like singing out our joy, when we don't necessarily know that we're going to be understood by people, by doing what Thich Nhat Hanh teaches us to do, which is to see through to things as they truly are, and then to face it with peace and with strength at the same time. They are not contradictory. And I wish you, my friends, my dear beloved community, the strength to see things as they truly are and to have that be your resolve. To spread compassion and love and healing to a world very much in need, and to each other. So we're going to hold the hands of each and every one of us that's here tonight. And we're going to reach out, and we're still going to help the world. We're still going to feed people. We're still going to sit down with kids and be there as they're learning to read. We're still going to make sure that they have proper clothing if they need them. And we're still going to search for understanding with people that we disagree with. That's a real commitment. Hold my hand. We're going to have to get through this together and get through to a world that may not understand us. But I know we can. I want to wish you all Shabbat Shalom, my friends, and please keep reaching out in all the ways you know how to make this world more peaceful. Shabbat Shalom.
Shakoach. Ken tihye ratzon, ken yihye ratzon. May it be God's will. Thank you for your beautiful and inspiring words. You have lifted us up. We rise together from where we are, rise in body or spirit for our Amidah prayer. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agit tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Koneh Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevii Gula Livnei Bneihem, Nama'an Shemo v'Ahava. Melech Ozer u'Moshe u'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah atah Gibor le'olam Adonai Mechayei hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia Echad li'on chasela Baruch atah Adonai Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim v'chol yom yaluch selah Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. We continue silently with our traditional words of tefillah. Of course, God understands the words of your heart. Feel free to be seated when you've concluded with your own personal prayer. Shalom Rav. Lie, 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 lie. Yai, yai, lie, 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 lie. Yai, yai, lie, lie, lie. Yai, yai, la, la, lie. Yai, lie, lie, lie. Yai, lie, 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 lie. At the conclusion of our personal prayers, we add a collective prayer for all those in need of healing, of a refuat nefesh, a refuat haguf, a healing of body and soul. So we read together this beautiful prayer for healing. God, make me brave for life, oh, braver than this. Let me straighten after pain as a tree straightens after the rain, shining and lovely again. God, make me brave for life, much braver than this. As the blown grass lifts, let me rise from sorrow with quiet eyes, knowing thy way is wise. God, make me brave. Life brings such blinding things. Help me to keep my sight. Help me to see all right, that out of doubt comes light. Friends, I'm going to chant the traditional Misha Berach, blessing for healing, and chant aloud those names in our congregation who we are praying for. Please feel free to add those names in your heart and minds in the chat box or say their name aloud. Misha Berach, Avotinu v'Imertenu Avraham Yitzhak v'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Recha v'Leah, v'Yavarech et hacholim. Lav Heshel ben Batami v'Yaakov, Nechama bat Sarah v'Rivka, Aran Dovid ben Pialeah, Harav Tuvia Levi ben Yosef Tzvi Cohen uBadia, Yaakov Yitzchak ben David v'Rachav, Eliyahu ben Sarah, Harav Ruven Shlomo ben Veleah, Naomi bat Miriam harav Yosef, Gittel bat Yehuda v'Chaya, Sisel Chana bat Yita Rivka, Livia bat Rachel, Gabriela bat Nechemia uDevorah, Abraham Anshel Halevi ben Miriam, Eliana Shai bat Benjamin v'Shira Leah, Sender ben Sarah, Miriam bat Simcha v'Shifra, Sarah Masha bat Ganesha v'Mosha, Tammy Burke, Jerry Bain, Corey Casperson, Becky Caudle, Pat Caudill, Martin Cohen, Pamela Cohen, Bree Craig, George Dickerson, Larry Footer, Karen Gillen, Warren Grove, Ben Sion, Barney Greenbaum, Annette Harris, Ethan Kadish, Helga Kaplan, Ray Carlsberger, Delma Killinger, Marilyn Lassen, Bill Lazaro, Cheryl Logan, Gerald McBreety, Marilyn Mendelman, Hassan Noach, Mike Nolan, Anthony Paneth, Clark Patton, David Schulman, Harriet Sobolinski, Annette Turner, Tim Vaughn, Mary Lou Wagner, Herb Weil, and all those loved ones who were mentioned. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yimalei Rachamim Aleichem, v'halach li'lemam rabotam, ul'chatzikam, v'yishlach lehem mehera v'ufuan shlema min hashamayim, v'ufat ha'nefesh, v'ufat ha'guf, hashtabagalav v'zman kariv, v'nomar amen. Dear God of our ancestors, help us renew our faith. grant us a perfect healing, and bring peace to all our days. And let us say amen.
Amen. Please join me in this prayer for our country. Our God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessings for our country, for its government, for its leaders and advisors, and for all who exercise just and rightful authority. Teach them insights of your Torah, that they may administer all affairs of state fairly, that peace and security, happiness and prosperity, justice and freedom may forever abide in our midst. Creator of all flesh, bless all the inhabitants of our country with your spirit. May citizens of all races and creeds forge a common bond in true harmony to banish hatred and bigotry and to safeguard the ideals and free institutions that are the pride and glory of our country. May this land under your providence be an influence for good throughout the world, uniting all people in peace and freedom, and helping them to fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they experience war anymore. And let us say, Amen.
Amen. And we join together for a prayer for the state of Israel. Master of compassion and forgiveness, cosmic majesty, who is peace, teach us your ways, show us the path that preserves life. Plant a steadfast reminder of our inherited mission in our hearts, to be a compassionate people descended from compassionate people, pursuers of peace and harmony, keepers of God's way to do charity and justice, despisers of revenge and begrudging, lovers of forgiveness and pardon, the ones who unremittingly declare that humans are precious, for they were created in your image. Blessed are you, God, Master of peace and reconciliation, as we sing together. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael veGoalo. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael veGoalo. We rise for our Aleinu prayer. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הארצות ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שמחנו ככם בגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We take this time to remember those who are no longer with us in body, but are still very much with us in spirit. We begin by acknowledging the recent deaths of Barbara Baum and Ibby Moser. I'd like you all to now think of those that you are remembering at this time, and please add those names to the chat while I share other names of our community that we have members remembering. If you are observing Shiva, we are observing the Shiva of Larry Samuels. That's the first week of mourning. Also remembering for the first 30 days of mourning, Marvin Zeldin. And lastly, the Yortzites, the anniversaries of the deaths of Sidney Barnett, Sonia Bloom, Gus K. Bowman Jr., Michael Chandler, Betsy Lisman Cohen, Damaris Moore, Rofet Swade, Alan Dickin, Jack Dratch, Adolf Frank, Rose Geckler, Reba G. Goshner, Nathan Goldberg, Ruth Golden, Mildred Goldman, Florence Goldsand, Rose Jocelyn Goldsmith, Leah Gottfried, Alan Gundersheimer, Diane Herwald, Jonathan Herwald, Allison Herwald, Tessa Lieberman Hoffman, Mike Kaysen, Sarah Kastner, Margaret Kennedy, Florence H. Cohen, Rose Korn, Tilly Levine, Arthur Loeb Sr., Flora Levy Luft, Herbert M. Lustig, Ellie Lustig, Jack Meisel, Barbara Marie Mendel, Steve Michelson, Felice Merkin, Bess Newman, Wayne Oni, David Osterhout, Joseph O. Owens, Irving Posner, Merle Rabstein, Stanley B. Schwartz Sr. and Stanley B. Schwartz Jr., Sylvia Sharfin, Howard Chevron, Jack Samuel Silberstein, Marilyn Skilkin, Ben A. Yenkin, Solomon D. Zeldin, and Kenneth Smija. We remember those names and all those names that you have shared with us in the chat or in our hearts. Say Zichronam Livracha. We think of them, we hold their memories, and their memories inspire us to be a blessing in our lives. I invite you to please rise in the order of your mourning. If you are observing Shiva, the first week of mourning, please rise now. If you're observing Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, please rise now. And if you're observing a Yortzeit, an anniversary of a death tonight, please rise now. And as one community, we stand in solidarity with them. You all rise if you're able for the Mourner's Kaddish. Together, Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba. Ve'alma divrach yirteh ve'amlich malchuteh. V'chay echon u'v'yom echon v'chay l'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba v'rach le'olam v'olmei almaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitrama v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei kusha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechmata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama Rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yishvei Tevel v'imru. Amen. Please be seated. Just a couple slides of announcements tonight. I believe that we are holding a raffle for a very exciting concert with Ben Platt. I think it's called the Reverie Tour. Very exciting stuff. If you haven't seen what the Platt brothers did for the Jewish world over the pandemic, type in YouTube Platt Brothers. They got a couple of great songs that I personally love too. So
they have, Rabbi, because I've posted throughout the pandemic lots of Platt Brothers renditions of Ahavat Olam, and yes, so they do know.
And Hodu Ladonai, yeah. Awesome. Well, get your raffle tickets. I think, Jody, are they on sale now? Give me a thumbs up. Not yet. Not yet. When are they going to be on sale? TBD. Look for that in our newsletters, but make sure you get them while they're hot. On to the next slide. Okay, a couple more adult ed and programmatic opportunities for you this Shabbat. Tomorrow, Jewish meditation, 10 o'clock on Shabbat, Saturday, tomorrow morning. And then on Sunday, another 10 o'clock adult ed on the topic of Moser with Rabbi Mars. I also want to make a quick note that we have many adult ed opportunities that are already ongoing this semester, such as Intro to Judaism with Cantor and Moser. That's happening every Wednesday in the middle of the day at noon. They're going to be online, hybrid, in-person options. So please check out our website if you're interested. I'm sure many of you are and are already participating, which is awesome. I love this group. Yeah, keep learning with us. Okay, so also I'll pass it off to Cantor Moses. Everyone, please raise your Kiddush cup.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei puri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron ma'aseh b'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziad Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'anim b'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'vratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. And if you have challah ready, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lecha min haaretz. Amen. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam, alidu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom. Shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
You can take yourselves off mute and wish each other good Shabbat.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Bye.